Hello? Hello, can you hear music? No. Well, fuck me. Anybody? Anybody hearing anything now? My voice sounds boxy. Man, I don't know what to do then. It's a little bit dead in the water. Um, yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm going to chat GPT to help. We might not have a stream tonight, folks. The voice is good, but like we're gonna like we have videos to play, so it's a little hard if we can't. Because I'm trying to figure out why you guys can't hear music. Because if you can't hear the music, then if I play a video, you can't hear the video. So we gotta figure this out. Yeah. Hmm. That's weird. We don't have any sound. No, the chat isn't current, and that's the least of my worry. We might have to, like, reschedule the stream, unfortunately, because I don't know why the sound's not working. Hmm. No, because I didn't touch anything with gaming stuff, so. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know why the sound isn't playing. Oh, it's on? What the fuck? Really? I think I know what's going on now. So now you hear the music? Now you hear it? Okay, there's something funky going on, because now I have, like, two. Okay, so I guess we're good. I guess we're good, then. I lost all my links, though. That's the problem. Not to worry. Not to worry. Okay, my friends, we are back. Let's pretend we're starting new right now, okay? What's up, everybody? Good to see you. How you doing? How you doing? How is everybody doing today? I hope well. I hope everybody is doing well. Let's see. It's Friday. It's time to stream. Guess what? We're going to talk about Trump today. Very interesting week for Trump, hasn't it been? We're going to get into the nitty-gritty details here soon. But until then, we're going to wait a little bit, make sure everybody gets back in here. I apologize for the hang-up. I wish I didn't have to restart the live stream, but we'll make it work. We've been through worse before. We've been through worse. We've been through worse. Okay. I'm getting back all my tabs that I have open. So I did briefly talk about the I responded to it like first thing last Saturday when there was the attempted assassination of Trump, and so but it was like just brand new at the time, and I was just figuring things out. So now that it's been a week and we got more information, I thought we'd take a look and go over the stuff that's been going on. First and foremost, oh, we need to fix the chat. First and foremost, we need to fix the chat. Okay, and secondly, yeah, let's talk about this. So, very interesting. There was the, I think, what state was it in? Was it Pennsylvania or something? Where, oh. I want to look at that one too. Sorry, I'm looking at articles. So it happened last Saturday, and it was really weird. I think it was Pennsylvania. I can't remember. And very odd thing that's going on here, because it just seems there's a lot of weird stuff. This is just weird. This is very strange. The whole thing is just very strange, and it's very theatrical. And I know there's a lot of people like trying to come out and say that this whole assassination attempt is fake. I don't think it's fake. I just think it's odd. It's odd. So glad we didn't. Oh, thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It says, so glad we didn't have to schedule. Me too. I was kind of having a mini panic attack there for a minute. I was just going to keep it cool and then cry off screen like, you know, like everybody does. But no, we got that sorted out for some reason. Just some weird stuff going on. But yeah, there's a lot of information with this. So bear with me. It's going to be a little bit all over the place. But the first thing I want to talk about is the potentiality of this being faked, this assassination of Trump, which I don't think it is. And, but it's so theatrical. It's so melodramatic. It just as well be. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's fake, because Trump himself is a very vibrant television personality, and I could see him like just being on that wavelength of just like, oh, you got to get the shot, you got to get, no pun intended, you got to get the good shot, you got to get the good picture, you got to get a good hand raise up in there and all that stuff. So very bizarre. But that makes sense for him to have that sort of reaction. So why don't we just look real quick and refresh our memories with the actual shooting.
Oh, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Certainly looked like it stinged. It's just very odd, the response. I don't know. You would think like people would be running, but I think people are just kind of confused. But all those gun-owning, like, MAGA people, you think they would recognize a fucking gunshot. It's just odd that, like, the response is so minimal, I feel like. It's not as, like, hectic and, like, crowd rushing and crowd parting as I would think it would be. They're saying the shooter's down. Yeah, very
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
First thing he does when he stands up,
So we're gonna
he says, "Let me get my shoes." Let me get my shoes. It's kind of funny.
Watch out.
My shoes. My shoes. Yeah. Very bizarre. And it just even gets weirder, because at first you're thinking like, oh, the person who shot at him must have been like a liberal, like a Biden-loving liberal or something. But it's like, no, that's actually not the case. The case is that the shooter is actually a registered Republican and a Trump fan. So I am confused. Let's see. Ooh. Less than a week out from the shocking assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, authorities are still working to unravel who the gunman was and may have driven him to act. Or what may have driven him to act. The FBI said... Wait, how old is this? 18? Yesterday? Okay. So the FBI says... Thomas Matthew Crooks, the man who shot at Trump at Butler, Pennsylvania political rally on Saturday, is believed to have acted alone. There is yet to be an established motive for Crooks' actions, officials told media over the weekend. Yeah, very, 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 very fucking odd. Investigators have said his father purchased the weapon used in the attack, AR style 5.56 rifle. And, I missed the paragraph. Hold on. Trump says the bullet pierced the upper part of his right ear. One person identified Sunday as Corey Comparator 50 was killed in the attack. Two other people were also injured before Secret Service agents killed Crooks. Investigators have said his father had purchased him the weapon. It's like an AR style, like 556 rifle. And now officials are trying to determine how Crooks gained access to it. Well, never. Okay, so it's not a mystery to me how people obtain weapons. I just want to know why. Why did he do this? So Robert Wells, assistant director of the FBI's counterterrorism division, said Sunday that the Bureau was investigating the incident as an act of domestic terrorism. A picture is still emerging about the 20-year-old. Here's what we know so far. Crooks is from a small community outside of Pittsburgh. The Crooks family home is in Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, according to the FBI, a working to middle-class community south of Pittsburgh. Investigators said the Crooks family is cooperating with the investigation attempts by NPR to contact family members, and it has not been successful. So the community, which neighbors describe as quiet, one sits about 53 miles from the shooting site, and his home about 33,000 people. People kind of keep to themselves. I mean, you say hi to your neighbors, said Jim Zawoski. I don't know, Zawoski, a 70-year-old retiree living in Bethel Park. But he added, people aren't especially close-knit. Zawoski said he mistakenly received mail from the Crooks' house, but never engaged with the family members directly, even as he returned the mail to their porch. I couldn't even tell you what they look like, he said. I'm sure they're devastated, Zawoski continued. I'm just wondering if there are any signs of how Crooks was acting. Was he mentally disturbed? Let's see. In school, he was considered a good student. They always are. The shooting has confounded those who cross paths with Crooks. The Bethel Park School District confirmed Sunday that Crooks was a 2022 graduate of Bethel Park High School. The district said it was cooperating investigators and was limited in what other information it could release. Crooks' name was included on a list of awardees as part of a Bethel Park Schools Award and Recognition Program in 2022, according to the local news report. He was listed in receiving a $500 National Math and Science Initiative Star Award. From background I've gotten from some people that I know that have gone to school with him, he was your typical average kid, more on the quiet side, relatively intelligent. Allegheny County Councilor Dan Grisbeck told the NPR news station. Grisbeck represents the district that includes Bethel Park. Okay, there's a boy. Let's see. Grisbeck noted that Crooks was known as a pretty decent student. After high school, Crooks attended the community college of Allegheny, I don't know, county, where he graduated 2 months ago with an associate's degree in engineering science. And like all Americans, we are shocked and saddened by the horrific turn of events that took place in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday. We are grateful that former President Trump is safe and recovering, and we extend our condolences to the family of Corey Comparator on their loss and offer our thoughts and prayers to all who have been impacted by this tragedy. The CCCAC said in a statement, as the investigation into this week events continues, they will cooperate fully with members of law enforcement. Okay. So a spokesman for Robert Morris University confirmed that Crooks planned to enroll at a small private institution outside of Pittsburgh beginning this fall, but had not yet attended class at the university. A person who encountered Crooks at the CCAC, but who wasn't authorized to speak publicly, told NPR that Crooks was known as a brilliant student with a solid future ahead of him. This individual said that Crooks was seen on campus and always dressed nicely. There were plans for Crooks to attend a 4-year institution in the state after graduating. CCAC. Earlier this year, it was announced that CCAC was no longer offering new students to enroll in its engineering department, forcing current students to finish their programs and classes there by 2025, according to the local news report. This caused a lot of student stress, but as far as this person knew, there were no behavioral issues with Crooks during this time. Since the news of the shooting rippled through the community, the general feeling of the CCAC is shock at the senseless tragedy, this person said. So Samuel Stratman, a classmate of Crooks at the CCAC, shared classes with him, but Stratman said he never saw Crooks in person at the school's campus, and the classes they did share was over Zoom, so Crooks was just a dark screen. Okay, I never thought he'd be in class with somebody who tried to assassinate a former president. Do any of us think about that? Crooks had been working at Bethel Park Skilled Nursing Rehabilitation Center as a dietary aide. Marcy Grimm, the center's administrator, said in a statement shared with NPR, it's unclear how long Crooks worked at the center. Grimm expressed shock and sadness at the 20-year-old who was named as the alleged shooter. So Crooks performed his job without concern and his background check was clean. We are fully cooperating with law enforcement officials at this time due to the ongoing investigation. We cannot comment further on any specifics. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the former President Trump and the victims impacted by this terrible tragedy. We condemn all acts of violence. Hear, hear, same. So he appeared to have also have an interest in guns, having joined a shooting club just a short drive away from Bethel Park. Robert S. Boutte. Excuse me, your last name is Boutte? Literally, Boutte. So Robert Booty the third, legal counsel for Clareton Sportsman Club, said that the statement that Crooks was a member of the gun club. Obviously, the club fully admonishes the senseless act of violence that occurred yesterday, Booty said in a statement, while also offering condolences to the family for Corey Comparator, who died in an attack, and prayers to those who were injured. After Crooks was killed, multiple news outlets have reported a photo emerged of law enforcement officers standing above the body in the image, which NPR has not independently verified. Crooks is seen wearing a gray t-shirt from Demolition Ranch, a YouTube channel that features videos about firearms, demolition, and experiments with guns. I bet that YouTube channel is like, shut up. Don't look at us. Don't look at us. After the image emerged, Matt Carricker, the channel's creator, posted a video in which he said, shocked and confused to find this out. We don't vet the people who buy our shirts off. Okay, so this is the YouTube channel. He's like, we don't vet the people who buy our shirts. Obviously, it would be impossible to, just like Nike doesn't vet those who buy their shoes. This channel is not about violence. This channel will never be and will never condone that at all. He continued, I hate that. Okay, so possible motive remains unclear. And this is what confuses the fuck out of me, is the motive. What was the motive? What was the plan? Like, why? For what? Because he was a registered Republican and apparently loves Trump. So what? The investigators are working on putting together what may have motivated Crooks to target Trump. They are looking into his actions in the days and weeks before the shooting. The FBI not yet identified the ideology associated with this shooter. Oh my God. Okay, so the FBI has not yet identified a particular ideology associated with the shooter. Says this guy who's the lead of the investigation. And so he says, we don't have any kind of high fidelity right now about the shooter's action immediate prior to him engaging the former president. Senior officials from the FBI and Secret Service have briefed U.S. lawmakers on the investigation, according to a person on the call. The FBI has been reviewing the contents of Crooks' electronic devices, including a laptop and 2 cell phones, his primary phone and a second one that was found at his home. Okay, so they're looking through his shit, trying to figure things out. Crooks saved images of President Biden, Trump, Attorney General Merrick Garland, FBI Director Christopher Wray, and Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. He had also searched for dates of Trump speaking events as well as Democratic National Convention. He also searched major depressive disorder. Oh, well. When investigators searched Crooks' home, they found no artifacts that indicated a political ideology, with officials told lawmakers that it's unusual in a case like this. People who knew Crooks have told investigators that he didn't often discuss product. Then why am I hearing all this stuff where he was like a big supporter of Trump and wore a Trump shirt and shit like that? Unless he was like really neutral? I don't know. We don't know because he's not here. It's unfortunate that he was shot because like there needed to be, we needed this information. So I, poo-poo on the Secret Service for jumping the gun, literally. Like, it was a kid. Like, you couldn't have, like, dealt with that. Also, I think the building that he was on the roof of was, like, the staging area of the Secret Service. It's like, oh, someone's on the roof. Okay. We have identified an account that appears to be linked to the suspect. It was rarely utilized, and we have found no evidence that it was used to plan this incident, promote violence, or discuss his political views. Why is this kid dead, but Kyle Rittenhouse, who is like extremely political and ideologically driven, is just walking around getting promoted and shown as a hero? I'll tell you what, this attitude towards white kids with guns is just very bizarre. Unless it doesn't work for them. Then it's like, oh, this is concerning. With Kyle, it was like, oh, he's a hero. So there's that. Let's see. I would like to talk a little bit and watch the Sneezing Monkey. There's this guy. He's called the Sneezing Monkey. That's his YouTube name. And mostly he debunks like weird hoaxes, like ghost stuff, UFO stuff, but he covered this, and I thought his take was really good, and it's really short. It's like 16 minutes, so I thought we would watch it because I do like agree with him quite a bit.
So if you're following my channel, then you know that I usually don't do videos about politics. I leave that stuff off my channel. Every now and then I did videos in the past where I express my political opinions, but I do keep it separate because I think it doesn't lead anywhere, and it's just dividing the community on my channel. However, since we are currently witnessing history in the making, okay, with the attempted Trump assassination not many hours ago when it happened, I feel like I should chime in because currently, as I'm recording this, the term staged is trending on Twitter with 410,000 posts.
Fascism at Marvel Studios. Welcome to America.
There's a lot of stuff going on at the moment, a lot of misinformation, lots of questions, and I just wanted to do a video where I break this down for you guys, give you a little bit of background, not necessarily my own opinion, but just some thoughts that people have, some stuff that people noticed in the video, in the recordings. There's a lot of stuff out there, so I wanted to put all of this in a video. But before we get into it, let me say, when I first saw the footage of the attempted assassination of Trump, it also didn't sit right with me. The way it looked, my first thought was, it's fake. I thought it was staged. I did an interview with Twitter personality Liam Neeson a while back, and in that interview he said something that really made me think when I saw this footage, and that was that he said Trump will stage some kind of event, right? Or not Trump personally, but him and his team will stage some kind of event that will then allow him to point at that event at all times and be like, you see, that's why we're doing it. This justifies all my radical policies and all that. This is why it's allowed and it's righteous what I'm doing. And when I saw the footage of the attempted assassination, that was my first thought. I was like, Liam Neeson was right, dude. This is the moment. This is the burning Reichstag. Do you know what I mean? This is the event that he can point at and say, look, you know, we have all these radical policies, but we got to stop these radical people who even tried to shoot me. And I know that at this point we know that the shooter was a registered Republican. We all know that. We don't need to get into this. I just personally think this is not something that Trump will care about a lot, okay? He will twist and turn this and repeat the lie that somehow it's linked to Biden's rhetoric and that he was some kind of radical leftist. You know, I'm
which they kind of had,
this,
like,
but we don't need to get into this here. I just want to point.
There's plenty of people coming out and saying like this is the fault of like anti-Trump like rhetoric and just like discussion about it, and it's so funny how the tables have turned, right? Because like for a long time, tons of people who are left-leaning are like, hey, all this violent talk is going to really inspire some violence. I mean, look, we saw like the January 6th insurrection and all that shit. The way trans people are being talked about is very violent, and that there's a lot of concern because it makes it very comfortable for people to also do some violence against trans people. So like this is already, stochastic terrorism has always been something that's been brought up, that the extreme right conservative people are doing, but it's like now the tables are turned, and now they're saying, like before where they're free speech absolutists, now they're going around and telling people you can't say that, you can't say this, you can't say that about Trump, and people are losing their jobs. No joke. Like if you even joke about how like if you even make a joke about how you wish things would have gone the other way, like people are losing their jobs over it right now. It's pretty insane how like the free speech absolutists have just turned around and they're like, no, you can't talk like this about Trump. You cannot talk about like this about a former president. So very interesting what's going on.
Out that we do know that the shooter was a registered Republican. And part of my skepticism at that point was also that he got only hit in his ear. Like, that is such a strange thing to happen. We knew nothing about the shooter early on. The pictures that were taken, right? The photography that was released afterwards, like this very iconic picture.
That is the perfect picture. You can hate it all you want, and you can hate that it exists, but that is a perfect picture. That is a stunning historical photo that will just, like, it will be timeless. It really will. And that's going to be that motherfucker's, like, main profile pic forever. Yeah, so Christopher Smith brought up the situation with Kyle Gass and Jack Black, where they were having a concert, and it was Kyle Gass's birthday, and Jack Black came out, you know, they did the cake candles, and then they're like, hey, Kyle, like, what is your birthday wish, or something, like, make a wish. And he made a comment about, like, well, hey, please don't miss next time, or something like that. And their tour got canceled. I'm pretty sure their insurance company dropped them because they now became like a major liability for a being a dramatic target. So it's like they're done. They actually had to release a statement about that and everything. Like, I'm telling you, people are losing their jobs even fucking making a joke about this shit. Now, Tenacious D is going to be totally fine, obviously. Which was, I think, is bullshit, honestly, because I think it was just the Tenacious D, the people who wrote a song about storming the Capitol. Like, there's always been some anarchist, like, themes in their music towards, like, the government and stuff. So it's like, it's really baffling to me why anybody would think that would be a surprise. And that really wasn't that nasty of a comment, but hey, whatever. You can't say anything. Shh. Do not make the orange angry. Do not anger the orange people. So,
this point, it's just too good to be true. Not only does he raise the fist, and then he also did the fight kind of thing afterwards, which felt odd, right? He got up rather quickly from what I saw early on and had this very, very powerful media moment, right? Also, this shot, it's just like a perfect triangle composition, the flag sitting above
and
it.
See,
you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying too about this being the perfect photo. It's not just like the moment it's capturing, it's the composition of it. It is the perfectly composed shot with the American flag, with the positioning of the people. Like, it really, like, you know, you cannot like Trump all you want. I don't like him all, but that is a good photo. Sadly, it's a good fucking photo.
Perfect with this moment that I was like, something is off here, right? This didn't feel right to me. However, I have to say that now I've changed my mind on it. We now know who the shooter was. We now know that bystanders were harmed and one actually passed away. So personally, at this point, I don't think this was a stake.
And see, that's the biggest kicker of, like, why this isn't fake. People died. People are dead. Somebody died. The shooter got killed. Like, this is not fake. That was not fake blood on Trump's head. Like, he got grazed.
Event in the sense that Donald Trump and his team or some secret service or whatever, some secret shady agency staged this moment. I don't buy that anymore. It was, in my opinion at least, a real assassination attempt, but there's still loads of questions. Some of them have been answered, and I feel a lot of people are still missing these answers, so it would make sense to go through them. Like, for example, what I mentioned earlier, how come if there's an active shooter, the Secret Service jump on him, but then fairly quickly he gets up, raises his fist, and has this iconic, perfectly captured moment right afterward?
Well, I think that's just Trump. I think that's just his personality. I don't think it was, like, rehearsed or staged. I think that's just his genuine response to something like that. Like, knowing, like, you know, obviously feeling fine. Like, he's surprised, but it's like, it doesn't surprise me that was his reaction. That would be something he'd do. He would seize the moment and be like, haha, I'm still here, like, fuck you, and raising his fists in the air.
The answer to that is, watch the footage again. You will see that the Secret Service actually keeps him.
A lot of neutral states, though, are kind of leaning towards Trump now because of this. Because, you know, nobody likes political violence. I don't like political violence. Neogenian people don't condone political violence. When it happens, it certainly changes things, doesn't it? It makes things interesting real fucking fast.
Down fairly long, and I have to assume that they kept him down long enough until they heard in their earpieces that the threat had been eliminated. And then he got up, and then he raised his fist. It was still a surreal, picture-perfect media power moment. But then again, Donald Trump is a media professional. That's what he is. He's worked in television, and if there's one thing that you can definitely say he's good at, it is that he has a gut feeling of how he has to behave and what he has to say to trigger the right people to get the word.
He does. He's really well media trained. Like he's got that mentality of like what would make a good shot, what would be a good scene. Like he's thinking that way. Less about I don't think he really cared much about his own personal safety at the moment. Like because like I don't know. There could have been another shooter. Him sticking his hand out there and his head out there, it could have gotten him in trouble.
Out there to rally up people, okay? He's very good at that. He's a person that perfectly plays the media cards. And that's what he did in this moment. And again, I looked at it, it all looked fake and staged to me. But at this point, I think it was just the perfect storm, so to say. Several little small things came together.
That's a good way to describe it, I think. Describing it as the perfect storm. Because that's kind of like what this whole election experience is becoming. Personally, my own personal opinion, pretty sure we're going to look at another 4 years of Trump. Something really crazy has got to happen for him to not make that.
And formed this moment that he will most certainly now utilize for himself in his own communication. But there are more questions. Like for example, I've seen several interviews with people who are at the rally with Trump supporters who said, we saw the attacker early on, we warned the police, we pointed it out to them, and either they couldn't respond quick enough or nothing was done, right? So that's really strange. I mean, if someone would say, we see a guy with a rifle on the roof over there, surely that would get priority over everything else, at least when it comes to the Secret Service.
And see, that was a weird thing, is there was a bunch of people who saw that guy on the roof, and they were, like, pointing to the, like, officers, like, the law enforcement, like, hey, there's this thing over here, and it was kind of like a moment of just nonchalantness, like, not real much response to that, but then again, I look at the attitude towards Kyle Rittenhouse, and I'm just thinking, like, the attitude towards white kids with guns is vastly different than anybody else. It's just kind of like, oh my god, somebody with a gun, oh, it's okay, they're white. Like, like, I'm just, that's the vibe I'm getting as to why there was some nonchalantness, but that's speculation, okay? That's very much speculation. It's my opinion, though. My opinion!
I want you to look at this footage, okay? It's 50 seconds long, and it is just a bunch of people standing there looking at the shooter as he's on the roof.
This is weird.
Pointing it out to the police, just making everyone aware that, hey, there's a guy on the roof, okay? And again, I've seen interviews with people at this rally saying, yeah, I've seen that he had a rifle. We've seen that he had a rifle. We informed the police. But let's take a look at this footage.
If I was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this. I'd be at some beautiful place with the borders, ocean, the Mediterranean.
Look, they're all pointing.
The Atlantic, maybe the Pacific.
Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
And son, I'm here with you fighting like hell to get a Senate.
What's happening?
And to make sure we take back the White House.
Oh my god, like to see there's children there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's concerning. The fact that there was, like, lots of kids around there, that's not good. It could have been so much worse. It really could have been so much worse, and thankfully, like, that's as much as that happened, but still, unfortunately, somebody died, and it doesn't matter if somebody's, like, MAGA or not. It's like, nobody should be dying over this shit, right? I don't want it for either side.
This is just wild to me.
Yeah, look.
There he is.
And you can clearly see him there, crawling into position. Do you see what I mean? It's like, guy on the roof. Some people have seen him carrying a rifle.
We have people Right here, right on the roof. It's much tougher than
So it's like, if people who are untrained witness this and point it out, why did the Secret Service not witness this? Why are they not securing the roofs
it's
around?
really
That's
fucking
another
weird.
question where I'm like, this is
It's really, and I think that's where like the hesitation comes in, and people are like, "Wait a minute, was this planned?" Even if let's play devil's advocate a little bit here. Even let's say it was fake. That's still such a dangerous fucking thing. Like how, like it's just some random kid. Like, and how does that process even go? It's like, who wants to die for their president? Like. And then just even shooting at Donald Trump. Like, that's such a dangerous fucking thing to do. So, like, that would be a crazy plan. An absolute crazy batshit insane plan if it was staged, which I don't believe it is. But it's so bizarre, right? It's weird dystopian sort of uncanny feeling.
another coincidence. And while this does lend some credibility to the conspiracy theories of people saying this is a staged event or was a staged event, my personal opinion on it, my interpretation is that the Secret Service and the police that were there at the rally just messed it up. They didn't respond quickly enough. The information that that guy was on the roof was not spread fast enough and didn't reach the right people in time. Look, we're all just humans. People mess up. It was a pretty big mistake to mess up in that particular case, but that's my theory at least. I think the Secret Service just failed. Now let's look at the story around his ear. Okay, the man was bleeding on his ear. We've all seen it. From what I've read, the shooter used an AR-15 style weapon, which is using 5.56 ammo rounds. Here's a picture of a 5.56 bullet. Okay,
and also if it was staged, I don't think they would be using that. That's insane. But you also have to keep in mind that when bullets are shot, it's not like the whole thing. It's the tip that gets blasted out of it. So it's not this whole thing ripping by his ear. It's just the little tip part.
Now, obviously, keep in mind, this includes the bullet casing.
Yeah,
okay? This is not the projectile that actually flies through the air. The projectile is way smaller. I don't know how low it goes in here, but it has more a shape like this, and everything that's back in here remains in the gun and then or remains in the rifle and is ejected once you reload. Here's another good.
I love that saying. Thank you, Mac. Macromonia says the polls didn't change. Most know there's not a bee's dick of a difference between Trump and Biden. Two cheeks of the same ass. It's true, though. They really are. Two cheeks of the same ass. I love that.
A reference image that I just found. So you can kind of see the bullet. It's much smaller because a lot of people were saying, like, if a bullet would be penetrating his ear, surely just the sheer power of the bullet hitting his ear would leave a bigger damage. But actually looking at it, I don't know, like on the outer side of the ear, you don't see any damage. Also notice there's no splashing of the blood, right? There's no blood splatter. There's no blood on the hair above the ear. There's not even blood on the collar and right under the ear, right? You would think like if a projectile with that much power penetrates his ear, it would just splash. There would be some kind of splash that on one hand does more damage to the actual ear because that is soft tissue. Do you know what I mean? And it would leave some blood splatter around the ear, which is clearly not the case. So that's suspicious. Here's an image of a target with a coin next to it that actually shows the size of holes made by a 5.56 round. So these holes are not huge, okay? It is not that they rip a massive hole into whatever they penetrate. Huge. But still, looking at this particular image, it just didn't sit right.
They probably don't. It's
evidence that the bullet specifically hit his ear. But the theory is that the bullet broke a teleprompter screen. You can see them, these semi-transparent teleprompter.
And that's one confusing thing too, is they're saying like it wasn't an actual bullet that whizzed past his ear and sliced it. It was actually like a piece of glass. But then like this guy is saying like, well, that's weird because like we don't ever see or hear about the broken teleprompter. Like where's the pictures and stuff about that?
Screens made from perspex that are all around these people where they read off their speeches from, and a piece of glass flew through the air, and that's what cut his ear. So what we actually see in these images is not the ear being damaged from the bullet, it is the ear being damaged from a piece of glass that just cut his ear.
Yeah, like, I'm not sure about that.
What are the odds of this? This is insanity, do you know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, that the teleprompter got shattered. Also, I am a bit skeptical of that as well, because would we have not heard that if a teleprompter like explodes and shatters? That would certainly make some noise.
Yeah, that's what's odd to me.
Maybe that would have been captured on some of the cameras, so we actually see a teleprompter being shattered. I haven't seen any of it. At this point, it's just a theory, but him being cut on his ear, to me, makes more sense than him having a bullet go through his ear or hitting him on his ear. Because there's also like this meme, I'm sure you've seen it, but the moment where he was looking off to the side, that's when the bullet hit. If you rewatch the video, you'll see it. Just when it happens, he's looking away. So there is the possibility that we literally had a moment like this. If it was the bullet that hit his ear, it would have gone.
That is pretty damn close, though. That's pretty fucking
his head
insane.
in this angle, but him looking to the side, he literally saved his own life, if that was the case, by just looking to the side slightly in that particular moment, in that microsecond, which again is like, what is the likeliness of this? What are the odds of this happening? This is wild. And obviously all the Trump supporters are like, well, it's God. God himself came down and...
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, yeah. Yeah, God came down and stopped that bullet from hitting Trump and guided it straight into one of his followers.
Hold his hand over Trump's like, what about the supporters, bro? You know what I mean? The supporter who was standing in the sideline, an innocent bystander. Where was God then, right? That guy died, and it's just tragic. And nobody talks about that as well. It just makes it even more tragic. So even I believe that it was an authentic assassination attempt and that it wasn't staged. This stuff is weird, man. I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is strange. All this stuff. It's just too many coincidences.
That's kind of like my overall opinion of it. Is that it's just weird. It's very melodramatic. It's very surreal in a way.
And then there's another point I'd like to mention. And that is that in the past, there were already threats at Trump rallies and Trump events where people apparently allegedly had firearms.
Frankly, I'm kind of surprised this hasn't happened sooner.
Okay, and I want you to look at this short clip. It's just 40 seconds. This is how the Secret Service reacted just upon the base threat that there is someone in the close vicinity.
Okay, but... Well...
That has a firearm. Okay, they immediately...
Yeah, but isn't Secret Service, like... a bit more lax with previous presidents, though, I think. Like, because he was the current president at the time. Like, I think if it was Biden, they'd move out quicker for some reason. I don't know. I'm just talking out my ass at that point.
Let's get him out of here.
I have no fucking idea.
And then look at this clown show that went down at this event.
This clown show. This was funny. This was so funny. I was like, the moment he stuck his fist up, I started laughing my ass off. And then just like the weirdness of them like around him and kind of like shuffling him off stage. Like, it was just really fucking weird and funny. Just like funny because it's so weird, you know, like I'm the type that when things are really terrible or dystopian, I just fucking laugh. So
with him screaming this, having this very media moment of like screaming fight, fight, fight and stuff. Admittedly, like I said in the beginning, this was the moment where they already had him down for a considerable amount of time. They probably found out that the threat has been eliminated because that happened literally seconds after he fired his own shot. So he was taken down immediately, basically. But still, like, the reaction is just weird. And then there's also this moment of the attempted Reagan assassination that happened in 1981. I mean, check this out. Again, how the Secret Service reacts in that moment.
Man, look at those suit styles.
Look at that reaction time, you know. Look at how serious they take that situation.
Yeah, but that was set up, like, differently. I mean, the guy's, like, right there.
These guys are so on top of that. Like, panic breaks out immediately. They're securing the perimeter. It's just a completely different vibe from what we've seen at the Trump rally. Like, what happened there. It's just not comparable, to be honest. So, look, again, I can't...
Well, no, it's not, because it's Reagan and this is Trump. And, like, the whole, like, situationally, things are set up completely different.
I can only say that overall, this thing still looks like a real assassination attempt to me. It feels like it was the perfect storm for Donald Trump. A lot of factors came together and created this perfect, marketable moment for him now, which I'm sure, as I said, he's going to utilize until he's re-elected or not in November. And then I want to also point out this short video to you guys, okay, by this guy. And I don't need to play the whole thing, but here's what he did. He slowed down the footage when he put his hand to his ear, right? We've all seen this. You hear the shots going off. Something penetrates his ear, whether it's the piece of glass or actually the bullet. And then Trump lifts his hand to the ear. And this guy slowed it down.
Hi, Heretical Response. Heretical Response says, I love his German accent. Yeah, this YouTuber is called The Sneezing Monkey. If you're into watching, UFO videos, UAP videos, or, ghosts, or just, weird stuff like that, that's mostly what this guy does. And he is really rational, really good. He's a big skeptic. He always wants to debunk the video. So he's really good when it comes to watching that kind of stuff. So I highly recommend him. If you're into UFO and ghost stuff, you should watch Sneezing Monkey because he's really great.
Okay, and I want to show you guys what he discovered. And you can leave me your thoughts down in the comments, okay, on this, whether
What's
you think
that
this
yellow
has any
in his
legitimacy.
hand?
But check it out. So he says in his hand, as he lifts up the hand, is like a yellow thing. Do you see this? He puts this
Trump's
yellow
pretty
thing
fucking
to
orange,
his ear,
though,
which
so
presumably, I don't think he says
that
this
could be fucking
specifically,
spray tan.
but presumably he thinks it's like some kind of blood bag, right, that he then squished on his ear, because then once he takes his hand down, right after that, you don't see it anymore. The yellow, whatever it was, is gone. However, as someone who debunks, lots of videos on the internet, I would like to point out that when he points it down, look, there is some yellowish taint here. He put his hand down slower than he put it up, right? The putting up of the hand almost was a natural panic moment where he's like, oh, what was that on my ear, right? So you move it up, you have more motion blur on the hand, and that means the colors that the camera picks up from his hand, which seem to include a little bit of yellow, right? If you look at it here, don't know what it is, right? It might just be the skin. It might just be like the sun on his skin. And, he is rather orange quite often. We just have to face that. So the orangey taint with the motion blur can potentially lead to an effect that it would look like something yellow in his hand. To be honest with you, I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that him lifting up his hand here is actually...
Oh! I get it. No, you know what it is? It's the lady behind him and her hat. Because the frames per second are, when they catch the hand motion, the hand is moving so fast that you can still see the imagery behind it, which is the lady's green hat. So when it passes it up, you're actually seeing, it's just the discoloration. It's her hat. Because when he brings his hand back down, the lady with the hat isn't behind him anymore. Watch it, and you'll know what I mean. Watch the lady's hat in the back.
From his hand, which seemed to include a little bit of yellow, right? If you
yeah,
look
this
at
is
it
coming
here,
down.
Don't know what it
but
is, right? It might
wait
just be
when
the
it shows
skin.
it going back up, and look at the lady's hat behind it, because I swear it's just that showing behind the hand, because the hand's moving so fast. It seems like it's kind of see-through.
With the motion blur can potentially lead to an effect that it would look like something yellow in his hand. To be honest with you, I don't think that's what it is. I don't think.
Yeah, look at her hat. Watch this lady's hat.
His hand here.
See,
is actually
it's the hat
a
behind
real
there.
Yellow object in his hand. It looks like it a little bit, and it's a fun conspiracy theory. But looking at him taking his hand down and seeing that there are light
there's
tones
no
of
lady
yellow
with a hat
anyway in
behind,
his
so there's
hand,
no
I think
discoloration. Plus,
it
he's
is
taking
just
his hand
an
down
illusion
slower.
of the camera that kind of led to an optical trick, basically, that the camera picked up of his hand having something yellow in it. I don't think he had anything yellow in it. But you can see speculation is going crazy.
We would all know if it's ketchup from McDonald's.
I said the term staged is currently trending still on Twitter. People are going nuts about it because, like I said, like I described in this video, there's just so much off about this event.
Well, I think it's just,
so wrong.
I think it's so crazy. It's such a crazy thing to happen that it is unbelievable to an extent, Let's see. So we read about the shooter, which is confusing because it's kid, what were you thinking? We will never know because they shot him. There's the guy who ended up getting shot, which is Corey Comparator, which is a really interesting last name, I gotta say. Hello? Hello? Well, let's see. Thousands of mourners filled to Pennsylvania Banquet Hall Thursday to remember the former fire chief who was fatally shot during the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump, who sent a note of condolence hailing him as a hero. The crowd paying respects to Corey Comparator and his family appeared to be a mix of friends, neighbors, and strangers who wanted to show appreciation for the man, who officials said spent his final moments shielding his wife and daughter from gunfire. Fire trucks and police vehicles filled the parking lot outside the building. Sharpshooters were positioned on the top of the event hall and nearby buildings as dozens of people waited in line to enter. Among mourners were firefighters in dress uniforms. So he was 50. He worked as a project and tooling engineer. He was an Army reservist and spent many years as a volunteer firefighter after serving at chief. Okay. Yeah, Trump got an ear injury, but he's fine. Trump honored Comparator during his speech Thursday night, accepting the party's presidential nomination, displaying his fire gear in the convention stage, kissing his helmet, and heralding the ex-chief as an unbelievable person. Well, I mean, that's the least he could do. Trump said a fund for Comparator's family and the two men wounded in the attack, David and James, was raised more than $6 million. Okay, yeah, I mean, those people who suffered losses, they deserve some compensation and some support. So Comparator's visitation Thursday saw a line of hundreds of people at the time stretching through Lob Hall, a space with white brick walls, white linens, white curtains, and exposed wooden beams that normally used for weddings or others. So, okay, that's a weird, I did not need to know that, but thank you. Guests walked past a large framed photo of Comparator holding a fish while the slideshow of photos from his life was projected onto a screen. His wedding, a recent 50th birthday party, time with his daughters, firefighting, fishing on a lake, and paling around with his beloved Dobermans. The gathering northeast of Pittsburgh in the rural community where Comparator grew up included firefighters from nearby communities and people involved in the local state Republican politics. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Any first responder... it's a brotherhood. Police, EMS, fire, military, we're technically all one, he said. When one goes, we all go. This was Rich Tallis. Who's, yeah. They took turns walking past his open casket. People love him. Let's see. This person says, I think it's really important that we raise our kids in a way where we can see the political violence is unacceptable and we stand for having important course. Okay, but where was this motivation? Where was this idea of, political violence is wrong when January 6th happened? Like, I feel like there's a little bit of hypocritical picking and choosing here. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Let's see. Let's take a look at his RNC speech a little bit. But I gotta pee first. I have to pee. Everybody stay here. I gotta pee. Don't go anywhere. Okay. Okay, man, my hair is so jacked. I need a haircut. Let's watch a little bit of this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Wow. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Kid Rock, sometimes referred to as Bob.
Now, I speeded
And
this
thank
up
you, Lee,
a little bit.
From the beginning. Thank you very much. What a talent. What a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you.
Who? Bobby Lee? What?
Friends, delegates, and fellow citizens, I stand before you
He looks like he's wearing a maxi pad on the side of his head.
this evening with a message of confidence, strength, and hope. 4 months from now, we will have an incredible victory, and we will begin the 4 greatest years in the history of our country.
Well, the fourth were
Together we
the
will
first
launch a
weren't
new
good
era of
enough.
safety, prosperity, and freedom for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. The discord and division in our society must be healed. We must heal it quickly. As Americans, we are bound together by a single fate and a shared destiny.
I'm sorry. I mean, I don't think it's good he got shot at, but to sit here and start advocating for unity and, like, saying we gotta come together, like, this man sows division all the fucking time. So, that's meaningless to me. It really fucking is meaningless to me. Like, he's so hypocritical. He sows division all the fucking time. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Now is the time for us to come together.
We rise together or we fall apart. I am running to be president for all of America, not half of America, because there is no victory in winning for half of America. So tonight, with faith and devotion, I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And we will do it right. We're going to do it right. Let me begin this evening by expressing my gratitude to the American people for your outpouring of love and support following the assassination attempt at my rally on Saturday. As you already know, the assassin's bullet came within a quarter of an inch of taking my life. So many people have asked me, what happened? Tell us what happened.
I wonder how people would be responding if this happened to Biden. I'm just curious. I'm just curious if there would be the same attitude of, like, no, this is too far. We shouldn't have political violence. Like, I'm wondering if it would be the same attitude. Just wonder. I'm just wondering. Just saying.
Happened, please. And therefore, I will tell you exactly what happened. And you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. It was a warm, beautiful day in the early evening in Butler Township.
It was a warm summer evening
In the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Music was loudly playing, and the campaign was doing really well. I went to the stage, and the crowd was cheering wildly. Everybody was happy. I began speaking very strongly, powerfully, and happily because I was discussing the great job my administration did on immigration at the southern border. We were very proud of it.
Thank you, Mark. Mark, I was trying to think. I'm like, what is this? It's like suddenly he's Dickens, like straight up. Okay, Charles
Behind
Dick.
me and to the right was a large screen that was displaying a chart of border crossings under my leadership. The numbers were absolutely amazing. In order to see the chart, I started to, like this, turn to my right and was ready to begin a little bit further turn, which I'm very lucky I didn't do, when I heard a loud whizzing sound and felt something hit me really, really hard on my right ear.
I'm wondering how that would feel. Like, that had to have stung. Like, probably stinging in a sense where, like, you don't know what the fuck happened, because he was totally just like, what the fuck, shit. Like, that would be pretty surprising.
I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my
Well, no shit, because there was gunshots.
ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood. Just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it.
Well, no, not really. The bleeding was pretty modest, actually. But, you know, it's pretty expected of him to, you know, describe things like in this nature.
It was very serious that we were under attack. And in one movement proceeded to drop to the ground. Bullets were continuing to fly as very brave Secret Service agents rushed to the stage, and they really did. They rushed to the stage.
It was a dark and stormy night. Wait a minute, no. It was a hot and balmy day, and stormy was... There was a slight wind in the air. The wind's a Stormy Daniels.
These are great people. At great risk, I will tell you.
It
And
was
pounced
sultry.
on top of me so that I would be protected. There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I
No,
felt
there
very safe
wasn't. No, there wasn't blood pouring everywhere. Are you serious?
because I had God on my side. I felt that.
It was a bald and crusty night. Everybody had a good case of swass. The moisture betwixt everyone's butt cheeks was percolating.
The amazing thing is that prior to the shot, if I had not moved my head at that very last instant,
It's true.
the assassin's bullet
That
would
was a
have perfectly hit its
pretty
mark,
fucking close
and
shot.
I would not be here tonight. We would not be together. The most incredible aspect of
Yo, if Trump was actually shot and died, like, it would be fucking insane right now. You know, like, how much conspiracy theories and fucking, like, the Republicans would be going fucking nuts. Like, it would be insane right now.
what took place on that terrible evening in the fading sun was actually seen later.
And frankly, I don't want to see Trump get shot. I don't want him to be taken out like that. I would like to watch him, like, just disintegrate slowly, naturally, and die of natural causes, and just, like, see how he just, I don't know, disintegrates away. I don't think shooting, I'm not down for that.
In almost all cases, as you probably know, and when even a single bullet is fired, just a single bullet, and we had many bullets that were being fired, crowds run for the exits or stampede, but not in this case. It's very unusual. This massive crowd of tens of thousands of people stood by and didn't move an inch. In fact, many of them bravely but automatically stood up looking for where the sniper would be. They knew immediately it was a sniper.
They knew before then. There was people telling those law enforcement officers, like, hey, there's a person on the roof. Hello? Like, I can't imagine how weird that would be to see that and then tell a police officer, like, there's a fucking, like, dude on the roof over there. And they're just kind of like, interesting. Huh.
And then began pointing at him. You can see that if you look at the group behind me. That was just a small group compared to what was in front. Nobody ran, and by not stampeding, many lives were saved. But that isn't the reason that they didn't move. The reason is that they knew I was in very serious trouble. They saw it. They saw me go down. They saw the blood and thought, actually most did, that I was dead. They knew it was a shot to the head. They saw the blood. And there's an interesting statistic. The ears are the bloodiest part. If something happens with the ears, they bleed more than any other part of the body.
They
For whatever
do?
reason, the doctors told me that. And I said, why is there so much blood? He said, it's the ears. They bleed more. So we learned something, but they just...
Well, I mean, blood vessels in your head in general, I think, are just more, like, abundant in, like, small blood vessels and stuff. But, I mean, if you got harpooned in the chest, I'm sure that would bleed more. Or if you got stabbed in the aorta, you'd be fucking bleeding a lot more than the fucking ear. There really wasn't that much blood, though. Like, it wasn't... I mean, it definitely looked gnarly, but...
They just, this beautiful crowd.
His
they didn't
bandage is so goofy looking, though. It's so fucking funny.
want to leave me. They knew I was in trouble. They didn't want to leave me. And you can see that love written all over their faces. They're incredible people. They're incredible people. Bullets were flying over us, yet I felt serene.
The bullets were flying everywhere. It did not bother me. The sound of bullets comforts me. I fall asleep to it every night. Bullet ASMR. Look it up. I made it. It's beautiful.
But now the Secret Service agents were putting themselves in peril. They were in very dangerous territory. Bullets were flying right over them, missing them by a very small amount of inches. And then it all stopped. Our Secret Service sniper, from a much greater distance and with only one bullet used, took the assassin's life. Took it
Yeah,
out.
where was he before that, though?
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here. Yeah. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
I don't think he actually believes in God, though. That'd be fucking weird if this, made him believe in God, though. That'd be fucking weird.
In watching the reports over the last few days, many people say it was a providential moment. Probably was. When I rose, surrounded by Secret Service, the crowd was confused because they thought I was dead, and there was great, great sorrow. I could see that on their faces as I looked out. They didn't know I was looking out. They thought it was over. But I could see it. I
don't know about
to let them
that.
know I was okay. I raised my right arm, looked at the thousands and thousands of people that were breathlessly waiting, and started shouting, "Fight, fight, fight." Thank you. Once my clenched fist went up, and it was high into the air, you've all seen that, the crowd realized I was okay and roared with pride for our country like no crowd I have ever heard before. Never heard anything like it. For the rest of my life, I will be grateful for the love shown by that giant audience of patriots that stood bravely on that fateful evening in Pennsylvania. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey, comparator, unbelievable person, everybody tells me. Unbelievable. And seriously wounded, two other great warriors, spoke to them today, David Dutch and James Copenhaver, two great people. I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people. Our love and prayers are with them, and always will be. We're never going to forget them. They came for a great rally. They were serious Trumpsters, I want to tell you. They were serious Trumpsters, and still are.
They were.
But Corey, unfortunately, we have to use the past tense. He was incredible. He was a highly respected former fire chief, respected by everybody. He was accompanied by his wife, Helen, incredible woman. I spoke to her today, devastated, and two precious daughters. He lost his life selflessly, acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
Wow.
I want to thank the fire department and the family for sending.
This is a crazy historical event. It's crazy. It's like it was like January 6th. You're just watching it and you're like, is this really fucking happening? Because this is weird as fuck.
His helmet, his outfit, and it was just something, and they're going to do something very special when they get it. But we did something which cannot match what happened, not even close. But I am very proud to say that over the past few days, we've raised $6.3 million.
I mean, I don't think that makes them a saint. That's kind of just like basic, you know. You help people who lost.
For the families of David, James, and Corey, including from a friend of mine, just called up, he sent me a check right here, I just got it. $1 million from Dan Newland. Thank you, Dan. And again, when speaking to the family, I told them, I said,
I'm just going to put this right in my
sending you
pocket.
a lot of money, but it can't compensate. They all said the same thing. You're right, sir. We appreciate so much what you're doing, but nothing can take the place in the case of Corey. And the other two, by the way, they were very, very seriously injured, but now they're doing very well. They're going to be okay. They're going to be doing very well. They're warriors. So now I ask that we observe a moment of silence in honor of our friend Corey. Our resolve is unbroken and our purpose is unchanged to deliver a government that serves the American people better than ever before. Nothing will stop me in this mission because our vision is righteous and our cause is pure. No matter what obstacle comes our way, we will not break, we will not bend, we will not back down, and I will never stop fighting for you, your family, and our magnificent country. Never. And everything I have to give with all of the energy and fight in my heart and soul, I pledge to our nation tonight. Thank you very much. I pledge that to our nation. I'm going to turn our nation around, and we're going to do it very quickly. Thank you. This election should be about the issues facing our country and how to make America successful, safe, free, and great again. In an age when our politics too often divide us, now is the time to remember that we are all fellow citizens. We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we must not criminalize dissent or demonize political disagreement, which is what's been happening in our country lately at a level that nobody...
I don't know. The way you talk about, like, I don't see. Again, I feel like this is hypocritical because some of the shit he says about his political opponents is like really fucking intense. I mean, for God's sakes, like his MAGA followers wanted to hang Pence, literally hang him. Those people that stormed the Capitol wanted to go in and like do some damage. So this is it's just really hypocritical to me, like hearing this.
...has ever seen before. In that spirit, the Democrat Party should immediately stop weaponizing the justice system and labeling their political opponent as an
Yeah,
enemy of
there we
democracy.
go. I figured that was coming.
Especially since that is not true. In fact, I am the one saving democracy for the people of our country.
Not according to Project 2025 that you endorsed and then later like said that you had no idea what it was, even though previously in 2022 you totally said you knew what it was and you were happy about it.
And very big news, as you probably just read, on Monday a major ruling was handed down from a highly respected federal judge in Florida, Eileen Cannon, finding that the prosecutor and the fake documents case against me were totally unconstitutional and the entire case was thrown out of court. With all of that publicity, thrown out of court. If Democrats want to unify our country, they should drop these partisan witch hunts, which I have been going through for approximately 8 years. And they should do that without delay and allow an election to proceed that is worthy of our people. We're going to win it anyway, but worthy of our people. On this journey, I am deeply honored to be joined by my amazing wife, Melania.
Wow, she's actually here? She hasn't divorced his ass yet?
And Melania, thank you very much. You also did something really beautiful, a letter to America calling for national unity, and it really took the Republican Party by surprise. I will tell you, it was beautiful. In fact, some very serious people said that we should take that letter and put it as part of the Republican platform. That would be an honor, wouldn't it? Right, Mr. Congressman? But it captivated so many, so I also want to thank my entire family.
In some ways, I kind of feel sorry for her. You know, I mean, she's an adult woman, but like at the same time, I don't know. I think she's just operating the best she can within her own reality tunnel, her own perspective of life. And it makes me feel sad that that's all she has. Frankly, like it's just, you know, I don't want to say she's a gold digger per se, because I think that's like too negative of a connotation, but it's just like she's definitely in that mindset where I feel like she has to stick with this no matter how she feels, and do the best she can.
For being here, Don, Kimberly, Ivanka and Jared, Eric and Lara, Tiffany and Michael, Baron. We love our Baron.
Baron.
And of course, my 10 wonderful grandchildren. You saw a few of them up there on my lap before. And how good was Dana? Was Dana good? Was he good? He was on probably the only vacation he's had in about, maybe ever, because he works, but about 10 years with his wife, very far away. I won't tell you where, but very, very far away, beautiful place. And my people called, and he said, I won't be able to do it. This is many, many years. I promised my wife I can't do it. And they came in, they said, Dana won't be able to do it, because he was my first, second, and third choice. I said, well, that's too bad, but I understand he's away, and it's good. It's good for him. And that was it. About 30 minutes later, she came back in, sir, Dana just called. He's going to do it. And his wife, she said, you can't turn him down. You just can't do it. You have to go. That's a good wife. So he got on a plane. He got here a little while ago. Now he's going to get on the plane in a little while, and he's going to go back home to his wife. But they're great, and I just want to thank her and him and their whole family, because that's not easy. And Kid Rock, same thing. Called, he said.
Kid Rock.
He said, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part, because, Kid does his great song, Big, Big Monster song. I had no idea. He became a friend of mine over the last 10 years. And he's amazing. Everyone loves him. I didn't even know how big he was. He has rallies, 35, 40,000 people he gets every time he goes out. I think he's making so much money, he doesn't know what the hell to do with it. You want to know? And then we have my other friend, and I've known him so long, and we took that song, and it was a big success, but we made that. I saw a chart of great songs to America. That was number 1 on the chart recently, number 1. So that's Lee Greenwood, very special, beautiful person. He's a beautiful man. But they all wanted to be here. They called. And how about the Hulkster? How good was he? You see that? Where is he? Boy, oh boy. They may call that entertainment. I know about entertainment, but when he used to lift a 350-pound man over his shoulders and then bench press him 2 rows into the audience, I say maybe entertainment, but he is one strong son of a gun. I will tell you, I watched it many times. There aren't a lot of entertainers that can do that, right? You were fantastic. Thank you very much. Followed by Eric. What was that all about? Boy, that was good. I didn't want to really come up here. But he was so great.
Max says, let's get folksy while the nation plunges itself into creation hell. Thanks, Trump. I used to call him Obama in orange face. Oh, God. I think if I started streaming and getting into politics during the time of Obama, I'd have more to say about him. But obviously you guys know, I'm not an expert in politics. I literally, I'm just taking you along the journey of, getting into the stuff with me. Politics didn't become, super interesting to me till the pandemic. So, and that's simply because the pandemic became so political in itself. I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? That and, the horrible legislature against trans people. That's another reason I started recently getting in politics, because before I was just kind of like, whatever. I mean, I did pay attention to some things, but I was just kind of like, I don't understand it. So it's kind of interesting. It's like there's never really a default place to jump into getting into the politics. You kind of just have to enter from a topic and a position of something that interests you or affects you. Max says, this is a great topic you're doing fabulously, Jan. Thank you. Yeah, because I never want to come across as somebody that's telling you how you should think politically. We're just kind of more, I don't know, because there's plenty of opportunity, right, to say some interesting, nasty things about Trump, but I don't think that's appropriate. And whatever you think would be cathartic with events going otherwise, I don't think it would be as cathartic as you think. So I think it's better that we still have Trump alive. Absolutely. I know that sounds really fucked up, to some people who are, because, I am very vehemently against Trump, but it's I don't think it would be good for him to have passed away. I think this is better for him to stay like this. I don't condone the political violence and the death and the attempts of the assassination and shit like that. I don't think that's the right way to go. But I do recognize it changes the political, environment really fucking fast.
And he's such a good young man. He went through a lot of trouble. And Don last night was incredible. They went through so much trouble. They got subpoenaed more than any people probably in the history of the United States. Every week they get another subpoena from the Democrats. Crazy Nancy Pelosi, the whole thing, just boom, boom, boom. They've got to stop that because they're destroying our country. We have to work on making America great again, not on beating people. And we won. We beat them in all. We beat them on the impeachments. We beat them on indictments. We beat them. But the time that you have to spend, if they would devote that genius to helping our country, we'd have a much stronger and better country.
I don't know about that, dude.
And Jason, the biggest star in country music. Jason, thank you for being here. Jason, thank you very much. Jason Aldean, he's good. I like his wife even better, by the way. She's here. Thank you, Jason. But I'm thrilled to have a new friend and partner fighting by my side. The next Vice President of the United States, the current Senator from Ohio, J.D. Vance, and his incredible wife, Usha. He's going to be a great Vice President. He's going to be great. He'll be with this country and with this movement, greatest movement in the history of our country. Make America great again. When they criticize it, they say, we're going to try and stop MAGA. I said, MAGA is making America great again. What are you going to stop? There's nothing to stop. Then they say, oh, that's right. It's very tough to fight it. And all of the people that did try and fight it have failed. But he's going to be with us for a long time, and it was an honor to select him. Great student at Yale. His wife was a great student at Yale. They met at Yale. These are two smart people. So, J.D., you're going to be doing this for a long time. Enjoy the ride. And a very special thank you to the extraordinary people of Milwaukee and the great state of... Oh, there they are. There they are. You are so easy to spot. And Green Bay's going to have a good team this year, right? They're going to have a good team. They're going to have a good team. Most of the audience doesn't like it, but it's true. You're going to have a very good team this year. And by the way, Wisconsin, we are spending over $250 million here creating jobs and other economic development all over the place. So I hope you will remember this in November and give us your vote. I am trying to buy your vote.
He's talking like he's already won. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing, because if Trump doesn't win, we're going to go through the whole election fraud shit all over again. Bet your bottom dollar. If Trump happens to not win this election, it's going to be the election fraud shit all over again, and probably even worse.
I'll be honest about that. And I promise we will make Wisconsin great again. We're going to make it. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for the whole nation. To every citizen, whether you're a young or old man or woman, Democrat, Republican, or independent, black or white, Asian or Hispanic, I extend to you a hand of loyalty and of friendship. Together we will lead America to new heights of greatness like the world has never seen before. We were right there in the first term. We got hit with COVID. We did a great job. Nobody knew what it was, but nobody's ever seen an economy pre-COVID. And then we handed over a stock market that was substantially higher than just prior to COVID. Coming in, did a great job. Never got credit for that. We got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things. The great economy, the biggest tax cuts ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much. We did so
Space
much.
Force.
Right to try.
I forgot about Space Force. They were trying to
get that for 52 years. Somebody's terminally ill. And hopefully there's nobody in this audience, but it does happen a lot. They're terminally ill and they can't use our new space-age drugs and other things that we are way ahead. We have the greatest doctors in the world, the greatest laboratories in the world, and they can't do it. They've been trying to get that approved for 52 years. Wasn't that easy? The insurance companies didn't want to do it. They didn't want the risk. The labs didn't want to do it because if it didn't work, people are pretty far down the line toward death. They didn't want to do it. The doctors didn't want to have it on their record, so I got everybody into an office. 52 years they tried. Sounds simple, but it's not. And I got them to agree that somebody that needs it will, instead of going to Asia, Europe, or someplace, or if you have no money going home and dying, just die. We got them to sign an agreement, agree to it, where they're not going to sue anybody. They're going to get all of this stuff. They're going to get it really fast. And what's happened is we're saving thousands and thousands of lives. It's incredible. Right to try. It's a great feeling. Under our leadership, the United States will be...
Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm going to let this play. I'll be right back.
Respected again. No nation will question our power. No enemy will doubt our might. Our borders will be totally secure. Our economy will soar. We will return law and order to our streets, patriotism to our schools, and importantly, we will restore peace, stability, and harmony all throughout the world. But to achieve this future, we must first rescue our nation from failed and even incompetent leadership. We have totally incompetent leadership. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. Under the current administration, we are indeed a nation in decline. We have an inflation crisis that is making life unaffordable, ravaging the incomes of working and low-income families, and just simply crushing our people like never before. They've never seen anything like it. We also have an illegal immigration.
Mac's like, they're abandoning the Star Trek future, though. Instead of a People's International Space Station, there's going to be a private garbage Walmart in space. Woohoo! We can be Ferengi, because I'll tell you what, like, Ferengi is actually, like if we were, like, space traveling right now with other species, we would be more like Ferengi. Which is why I think, honestly, like, Star Trek, like, the whole, like, the species, the social situations and stuff that they're in, like, they're very applicable to what's going on right now. That was a lot of Gene Roddenberry's vision. So, I mean, like, I'm a huge fucking Star Trek fan. Like, Like, I love it. I like the Star Trek future, the future of a people where they work towards the betterment of themselves and not for profit. Like, that, I think, is the way to go. We want a society where people, their whole drive is to better themselves, not to make money, and not simply just survive.
Crisis, and it's taking place right now as we sit here in this beautiful arena. It's a massive invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities all across our land. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Then there's an internet.
In Star Trek, I mean, there's a lot of fascist tropes in Star Trek, but like the ones that are that stick out to me the most are the Kardashians. Like, if you want a narrative about like fascism, watch Deep Space Nine. The whole occupation of the Cardassians on the Bajoran planet and the way they take over Bajor, like, it's such like a fascist like trope. It's really fascinating. It's very applicable to this day.
Crisis, the likes of which the world has seldom been part of. Nobody can believe what's happening. War is now raging in Europe and the Middle East. A growing specter of conflict hangs over Taiwan, Korea, the Philippines, and all of Asia. And our planet is teetering on the edge of World War III. And this will be a war like no other war because of weaponry. The weapons are no longer army tanks going back and forth shooting at each other. These weapons are obliteration. It's time for a change. This administration can't come close to solving the problems. We're dealing with very tough, very fierce people. They're fierce people. And we don't have fierce people. We have people that are a lot less than fierce, except when it comes to cheating on elections and a couple of other things. Then they're fierce. Then they're fierce. So tonight,
See, Max says my favorite is Star Trek Voyager. See, that's my favorite too. I don't know. I really love Janeway. She's literally like the kindergarten mom of space and just like does not put up with bullshit. Like, I think she's fabulous. Like, she's definitely one of my top captains. And I'd say like Voyager is my favorite. Next Generation is my second favorite, and I do love Deep Space Nine. I know Deep Space Nine can seem boring to some people, but I think it's great. The only thing I don't like about Deep Space Nine is how it ended with the wormhole of aliens that they called prophets, and Captain Sisko ended up being like a half like alien species. It's just like that part. I'm like, we could have definitely done without that, but the other stuff, I love it. But I could talk about Star Trek for hours. We're not here for that.
Make this pledge to the great people of America. I will end the devastating inflation crisis immediately, bring down interest rates, and lower the cost of energy. We will drill, baby, drill. Can you believe what they're doing?
Can you believe
it? We
it?
will lead a large-scale decline in prices. Prices will start to come down. Energy raised it. They took our energy policies and destroyed them. Then they immediately went back to them, but by that time, so much was lost. But we will do it at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We'll end lots of different things. We'll start paying off debt and start lowering taxes even further. We gave you the largest tax cut. We'll do it more. You know, people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took in more revenues.
What do you mean you brought taxes down? The bracket extended lower, which means that lower class people have to pay more taxes. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Most people said, how did you do that? Because it was incentive. Everybody was coming to the country. They were bringing back billions and billions of dollars into our country. The companies made it impossible to bring it back. The tax rate was too high, and the legal complications were far too great. I changed both of them, and hundreds of billions of dollars by Apple and so many other companies were brought back into our nation, and we had an economy the likes of which no nation had ever seen. China, we were beating them at levels that were incredible. And they know it. They know it. We'll do it again, but we'll do it even better. I will end the illegal immigration crisis by closing our border and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built. On the wall, we were dealing with a very difficult Congress, and I said, oh, that's okay, we won't go to Congress. I call it an invasion. We gave our military almost $800 billion. I said, I'm going to take all that money because this is an invasion, and we built, most of the wall is already built, and we built it through using the funds, because what's better than that? We have to stop the invasion into our country that's killing.
Yeah, you know what you do when you have a problem in your country? You fucking make the military deal with it. What the fuck? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Hundreds of thousands of people a year. We're not going to let that happen. I will end every single international crisis that the current administration has created, including the horrible war with Russia and Ukraine, which would have never happened if I was president, and the war caused by the attack on Israel, which would have never happened if I was president. Iran was broke. Iran had no money. Now Iran has $250 billion. They made it all over the last 2.5 years. They were broke.
What's going on between Israel and Palestine was inevitable. It doesn't fucking matter if Trump's president or not, or who's president. That was going to happen. The Hamas attack was going to happen. The climate between and the history between those two countries throughout the last like fucking 50 years has been leading up to this point. It was inevitable. There was no stopping it. It doesn't matter if you were president or not.
I watched the other day on a show called Deface the Nation. Has anyone seen it? And they had a congressman who was a Democrat say, well, whether you like him or not, Iran was broke dealing with Trump. I told China and other countries, if you buy from Iran, we will not let you do any business in this country, and we will put tariffs on every product you do send in of 100% or more. And they said to me, well, I think that's about it. They weren't going to buy any oil. And they were ready to make a deal. Iran was going to make a deal with us. And then we had that horrible, horrible result that we'll never let happen again. The election result, we're never going to let that happen again. They used COVID to cheat. We're never going to let it happen again.
They used COVID to cheat.
And they took off all the sanctions, and they did everything possible for Iran. And now Iran is very close to having...
Yeah, but if you're such a fabulous fucking president, wouldn't you be able to, like, overcome that? Like, how could they use COVID to cheat? Like, you're the best president in the world. Like, how did you let yourself get cheated? You're so smart. You're the best president. Like, how did you allow that to happen? That loses my confidence in that.
A nuclear weapon, which would have never happened. This is a shame what this administration, the damage that this administration has done. And I say it often. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. I'm only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable. It's unthinkable. Together we will restore vision, strength, competence, and we're going to have a thing called common sense making most of our decisions, actually. It's all common sense. Just a few short years ago, under my presidency, we had the most secure border and best economy in the history of our country, in the history of the world. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had never done anything like it. We were beating every country, including China, by leaps and bounds. Nobody had seen anything like it. We had no inflation. Soaring incomes were going. Nobody can believe it. You can't believe what happened 4 years ago is happening now in reverse. And the world was at peace. Inflation has been a killer for our country. No matter what you make it, it doesn't matter because inflation is eating you alive. People that were putting away money, they were making great wages, the highest they've ever made, but they were putting away a lot of money. Now they are just being destroyed. They're not putting away anything. They're barely living. They're going into savings accounts. They're taking out their money to live because of inflation. Inflation, remember, it's called a country buster. You can go back to Germany from 100 years ago. You can go back to any country that suffered great inflation. And we've suffered the worst inflation we've ever had. But go back and see what's happened to those countries. We've had the worst inflation we've ever had under this person.
What about the Great Depression?
Years, our opponents have turned incredible success into unparalleled tragedy and failure. It's been a tremendous failure. Today our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. And by the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population. Because they're taking the jobs from our black population.
No. I have been over this before, where he's saying immigrants are taking quote-unquote black jobs. What the fuck is a black job? Is anybody actually sitting down and thinking about that? That concept? And how do you take specifically a black job? How do you, as an immigrant, when I go to America and I'm like, I need a job, how do I, do I sit there and go, hey, I need specifically a black job? What the fuck is that? Black people have all sorts of fucking jobs and positions. From CEOs to fucking, garbage men. It doesn't make any fun. Yeah, there's black-owned businesses. How are immigrants stealing that? It doesn't make it a black job. What the fuck is a black job? There was a funny thing I saw earlier, and I posted it on my Instagram. I do a lot of shit posting on my Instagram. Let's see. Yeah, this here.
Black job. Black job. Get it! There's a black job, Gordo! Give me your job! Give me a job!
Fuck! She got away.
I need that for my teeth.
Yeah, let's watch that again.
Gordo. Black job.
Black job. Get it.
There's a black job. Get it. Get the black job. Give me your job.
Give me your job.
Give me your job.
Fuck. She got away.
I need that for my teeth.
like, what is a fucking black job? Like, that just... And that's a good example of what I mean when it's hypocritical of him saying, like, oh, we need unity, when he constantly spouts, like, division. Oh, I'm gonna... He's pretty much pinning black people against, immigrants, whatever they're called. And just he's pitting them against each other. For no reason. You can't define a black job. What is a black job? You can't define that. There's no job position that is specifically given to black people. It doesn't make any sense. And it baffles me when people get pissed off, because I've had this happen like a couple of streams ago where I talked about this. People got pissed off and they're like, oh, you're racist and all this stuff. And it's like, do you actually think about what the fuck a black job is? Okay, immigrants, if you were going to say immigrants are coming for jobs, they're coming for any job they can get. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, whatever. Like, they're coming for any job or source of income they can get, they're going to get. What is a black job? It sounds like a fucking, like, sex move is what it sounds like to me. A black job? Like, hey, man, you want a black job? Like, Jesus.
Our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it. Thank you. Thank you. I like you, too. Thank you very much. Inflation has wiped out the life savings of our citizens and forced the middle class into a state of depression and despair. That's what it is. It's despair and depression. We cannot and will not.
Yeah, exactly. So Mark says he doesn't even know he's being double racist when he implies that black folk want to fold hotel laundry or pick berries for $1 an hour. That's what that's implying. Immigrants are coming for black jobs. Well, it's kind of implying that black people only have shitty jobs, which is not true. There are plenty of black CEOs, plenty of, like, black business owners, plenty of that. It doesn't make any fucking sense to say that immigrants are coming for black jobs. It's such an insane thing to say. To even sit and try to define what a black job is to acknowledge the racist problem in America.
Let this continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. We're going to be a great nation again. Thank you. With proper leadership, every disaster we are now enduring will be fixed, and it will be fixed very, very quickly. So tonight, whether you've supported me in the past or not, I hope you will support me in the future, because I will bring back the American dream. That's what we're going to do. You don't even hear about the American dream anymore. With great humility, I am asking you to be excited about the future of our country. Be excited. Be excited. And by the way, the news reports, look at all of those big networks. Look at them. They're all here. But every one of them has said this could be the most organized, best run, and most enthusiastic convention of either party that they've ever seen. Every single one. And it's true. It's true. And there's love in the room. There's great love in the room. So I better finish strong. Otherwise, we'll blow it. And we can't let that happen. Now, this was great. All of the great people that spoke, and everybody hit a home run. I mean, there's not one that I can think of where I said, oh, gee, that wasn't great. Every single person. I refuse to be the only one. Don't do that to me. They're already getting ready. See, I gave them an idea. Now, this was a great convention. This was, I think we're actually going to go home and miss it. You know, usually with a first of all, look at these crowds. You'd never have this at a convention. Look at these crowds. Love. It's about love. This week, the entire Republican Party has formally adopted an agenda for America's renewal, and you saw that agenda. And it's very short compared to the long, boring, meaningless agendas of the past, including the Democrats. They write these things that are hundreds of pages long, and they never read them after they're done. In their case, fortunately, they don't read them because they're pretty bad. It's a series of bold promises that we will swiftly implement when you give us a Republican House. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. We have our great Speaker of the House with us tonight. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Thank you. A Republican Senate. We have many senators here. And send me back to our beautiful White House just a few short months from now. We're talking about just months. It can't come fast enough. We have to get it done. First, we must get economic relief to our citizens. Starting on day one, we will drive down prices and make America affordable again. We have to make it affordable. It's not affordable. People can't live like this. Under this administration, our current administration, groceries are up 57%, gasoline is up 60 and 70%, mortgage rates have quadrupled. And the fact is, it doesn't matter what they are because you can't get the money anyway. You can't buy houses. Young people can't get any financing to buy a house. The total household costs have increased an average of...
I mean, that's true. Like, my hopes for buying my own house is so fucking dismal. I'm going to be renting for the rest of my life. If not, like, living in a vehicle.
$28,000 per family under this administration. Republicans have a plan to bring down prices and bring them down very, very rapidly. By slashing energy costs, we will, in turn, reduce the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and all household goods. So much starts with energy. And remember, we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country by far. We are a nation that has the opportunity to make an absolute fortune with its energy. We have it, and China doesn't. Under the Trump administration, just 3.5 years ago, we were energy independent. But soon, we will actually be better than that. We will be energy dominant and supply not only ourselves, but we will supply the rest of the world with numbers that nobody has ever seen, and we will reduce our debt, $36 trillion. We will start reducing that, and we will also reduce your taxes still further. Next, and by the way, they want to raise your taxes 4 times. Think of it. And all my life, I grew up watching politicians. I always loved politics. I guess I was on the other side. I'd watch and they were always talking about, we will give you a tax cut. We will give you a tax cut. My whole...
You said I'm having an inspection. Did I say that? Did I mention that? Did I mention I was having an inspection on my condo? Because I am. It's coming up soon. It's really funny because, like, in the email, like, the guy who's, like, doing the inspection, he's like, I'm not going to be checking your fire or smoke alarm, so you better be sure to change those batteries. And it's like, ain't that your job? So, like, what the fuck are you coming to my house and looking at? I'm definitely going to be complaining about my bathroom because I'll tell you what, my bathtub needs to be completely gutted out and, like, redone. It's such a sad bathtub. Like, I don't even want to shower in there. But that's a totally different topic.
Life I was watching, I will give you a tax cut, right, Mr. Congressman? That's all they talked about. This is the only administration that said, we're going to raise your tax.
Was it an appraiser? I'm not sure because it's just a big company that, like, rents out. No, I don't own the condo. I rent the condo. So it's rented by, like, a company, and they don't really do large apartment complex. They do, like, specifically, like, houses and condos. So it's the management it's the property managers that are coming. And I think really, like, they're just coming to check out the place and make sure that I'm not some, like, meth making hoarder with, like, 10 cats, you know? Like, I think that's really what that's about.
Taxes by 4 times what you're paying now, and people are supposed to vote for them? I've never heard it. You're paying too much. We're going to reduce your taxes still further. We gave you the biggest one, as I said. We're going to give you more, and it's going to lead to tremendous growth. We want growth in our country. That's what's going to pay off our debt. And next, we will end the ridiculous and actually incredible waste of taxpayer dollars that is fueling the inflation crisis.
They might be appealing the tax bill. Well, yeah, whatever they're doing on their end. I'm just thinking, like, you know, when am I going to get my rental rate raised? It happened, like, not too long ago, but, you know, they could definitely raise it again. They can raise my rent, unfortunately. This place, this condo, me and my friend got and started renting during the time of the pandemic when rental rates were really, really low. So we got a really fantastic deal on a place, and so it's no surprise that the rent's being increased at this moment.
They've spent trillions of dollars on things having to do with the Green New Scam. It's a scam. And that's caused tremendous inflationary pressures in addition to the cost of energy. And all of the trillions of dollars that are sitting there not yet spent, we will redirect that money for important projects like roads, bridges, dams, and we will not allow it to be spent on meaningless Green New Scam ideas.
Oh, okay. So, no climate control stuff. None of that? Okay. That sounds good. Okay, everybody just keep using fucking gasoline and oil. That's gonna go well.
And I will end the electric vehicle mandate on day 1. Thereby saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening right now, and saving U.S. customers thousands and thousands of dollars per car. And right now, as we speak, large factories just started. Are being built across the border in Mexico. So with all the other things happening on our border, and they're being built by China to make cars and to sell them into our country, no tax, no anything. The United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed for allowing this to happen. And the leader of the United Auto Workers should be fired immediately. And every single auto worker, union and non-union, should be voting for Donald Trump because we're going to bring back car manufacturing and we're going to bring it back fast.
Okay, I don't know about that.
They're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world. Think of it, in the world. We're going to bring it back. We're going to make them. We don't mind that happening, but those plants are going to be built in the United States, and our people are going to man those plants. And if they don't agree with us, we'll put a tariff of approximately 100 to 200% on each car, and they will be unsellable in the United States.
Yeah, because that's going to
by other
help.
countries. And think of it, oftentimes these other countries are considered so-called allies. They've taken advantage of us for years. We lose jobs, we lose revenue, and they gain everything and wipe out our businesses, wipe out our people. I stopped it for 4 years. I stopped it, and we're really ready to make changes like nobody had seen before. And remember, USMCA, I got rid of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with USMCA, which is, they say, the best trade deal ever made. Actually, probably the best trade deal was the deal I made with China, where they buy $50 billion worth of our product. They were buying nothing. They buy $50 billion worth. They had to. But I don't even talk about it because of COVID. I don't even mention it, frankly, because of what happened with the China virus.
Yeah, one of the parts of the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025 is like no EPA, completely abolishing environmental protection agency. Just full like throttle into usage of oil, all those things. I don't think that's a great idea.
We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation. They come and do that. They plunder our nation. The way
they're plundering our booties.
Simple. Build it in America and only in America.
Yar, they be plundering our booties.
And this very simple formula, and Congress has to go along with us, and they will. This very simple formula will create massive numbers of jobs. We will take over the auto industry again, and many, many, hundreds of thousands of jobs. We lost so many jobs over the years. If you go back 20, 25 years, they've stolen going to China and Mexico about 68% of our auto industry manufacturing jobs. We're going to get them all back. We're going to get them all back, every one of them.
Yeah, good point. David says the economic talking points are true, but it will take honest leadership to fix it. Not found in either party. I agree.
The center of our plan for economic relief are massive tax cuts for workers that include something else that's turned out to be very popular, actually. Here it's very popular, this building and all those hotels that I saw that are so nice. I'm staying in a nice one. It's called no tax on tips. No tax on tips. No tax on tips.
No tax on tips, okay. Well, I mean, those are words I can agree with, I guess.
I got that by having dinner recently in Nevada, where we're leading by about 14 points. Hello. I'll see you there very soon, everybody. And we're having dinner at a beautiful restaurant in the Trump building on the Strip, and it's a great building, and the waitress comes over. How's everything going? Really nice person. How's everything? Oh, sir, it's so tough. The government's after me all the time on tips, tips, tips. I said, well, they give you cash. Would they be able to find me? She said, actually, I didn't know this. She said, very little cash is given. It's all put right on the check. And they come in and they take so much of our money, it's just ridiculous, and they don't believe anything we say, and they've just hired, as you know, 88,000 agents to go after them even more. And I said, this shows the level of my, most people go out there hire consultants, they pay millions of dollars. But I said to her, let me just ask you a question. Would you be happy if you had no tax on tips? She said, what a great idea. I got my information from a very smart waitress. That's better than spending millions of dollars. And everybody loves it. Waitresses and caddies and drivers, and everybody's a large group of people that are being really hurt badly. They make money, let them keep their money. I'm going to protect Social Security and Medicare. Democrats are going to destroy Social Security and Medicare because all of these people, by the millions they're coming in, they're going to be on Social Security and Medicare and other things, and you're not able to afford it. They are destroying your Social Security and your Medicare. Under my plan, incomes will skyrocket, inflation will vanish completely, jobs will come roaring back, and the middle class will prosper like never, ever before, and we're going to do it very rapidly.
Okay, but what kind of jobs? Because every time they're like, oh, there's significantly more job opportunities now than ever, those quote-unquote job opportunities pay jack shit. So it's like, yeah, there's more jobs, there's more places to apply, but we're still working like 3 to 4 jobs just to make rent. Well, yeah, there's plenty of jobs. Go apply to Target for minimum wage. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna waste my fucking time and energy on that shit. I mean, like, I'm set with my job. I've been working at the same place for 10 fucking years, but still, it's like, I just don't understand this reality, and people think, like, oh, there's more jobs, you can just go out and make money. It's like, no, you're spending way more time and energy than it's even worth.
But no hope or dream.
You're working so fucking much that you don't even get to be a person anymore.
We have for America can succeed unless we stop the illegal immigrant invasion, the worst that's ever been seen anywhere in the world. There's never been an invasion like this anywhere. Third world countries would fight with sticks and stones not to let this happen. The invasion at our southern border, we will stop it, and we will stop it quickly. You heard Tom Homan yesterday. Tom Homan, put him in charge and just sit back and watch. Brandon Judd, the Border Patrol, he's incredible. These guys, they really, their job is a lot easier if they don't have to do anything, but they want to. They're patriots. Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, ICE. ICE goes out. You have to see what ICE does with MS-13. You have these are probably the worst gang, and ICE goes in there. And I know a lot of people in these rows here, and they're very tough people, but they don't want to do this job. They'll go into a pack of MS-13 killers. They're the worst, probably the worst gangs in the world, and we have thousands of them. I moved thousands and thousands out in my 4 years. We moved them out, and it was a pleasure. But ICE would go right into a pack of these killers, and you see fists flying, you see everything flying, and then they take them. They put them in a paddy wagon. They take them back, and they get them out of our country. And the other countries weren't accepting them back, and I called up, and I said, tell them that we're not giving them economic aid anymore. And the next day, I got calls from all of these countries that were terminated. Billions of dollars we spent on economic aid to countries that does us, frankly, no good. And the next day, I was called by everybody. I couldn't take all the calls. Sir, what's the problem? I said, you won't take your killers back that you sent in caravans into America. You won't take them back. Well, sir, if you'd like us to, we would give very serious consideration to doing that. And within 24 hours, they were being taken back for years and years. When I first came in, they said President Obama tried to get him to go back, and they wouldn't accept him. They put planes on the runway so you couldn't leave the plane. They closed the road so you couldn't take the buses. They'd all have to turn back. As soon as I said no more economic aid of any kind to any country that does that, they called back and they said, sir, it would be our great honor to take MS-13. We love them very much. We love them very much, sir. We'll take them back. At the heart of the Republican platform is our pledge to end this border nightmare and fully restore the sacred and sovereign borders of the United States of America, and we're going to do that on day one. That means two things on day one, right? Drill, baby, drill, and close our borders.
Drill, baby, drill, and close the borders. Okay.
And by the way, and I
There
think
we
everybody
go,
as a
kids.
Republican, as a patriot in this room, and most Democrats, we want people to come into our country, but they have to come into our country legally. Legally.
What happened to the melting
Less than
pot?
4 years ago, I handed this administration the strongest border in American history. But you can see on the chart that saved my life. That was the chart that saved my life. I said, look it, I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the greatest. It was done by the Border Patrol. One of the greatest charts I've ever seen. It showed everything just like that. You know the chart. Oh, there it is. That's pretty good. Wow. Last time I put up that chart, I never really got to look at it. But without that chart, I would not be here today. Never got to look at it. I said, you got to see this chart. I was so proud of it, and by the time I got to there, I never got to see it that day. But I'm seeing it now, and I was very proud. If you look at the arrow on the bottom, that's the lowest level, the one on the bottom, heavy red arrow. That's the lowest level of illegal immigrants ever to come into our country in recorded history, right there. Right there. And that was my last week in office. And then you see what happened after I left. Look at the rest. And if you go out a little bit further, it's getting to be a little bit old, but I love it anyway, right? But you can go much higher with those numbers. Look what happened right after that. The invasion began. We had the opposite. We stopped the invasion. But the invasion that we stopped was peanuts by comparison to what happened after I left. Look at what happened after I left. They took over our country. We ended all catch and release. We shut down asylum fraud. We stopped human trafficking and forged historic agreements to keep illegal aliens on foreign soil. We want them to stay on their soil. Under the Trump administration, if you came in illegally, you were apprehended immediately and you were deported. You went right back. The current administration terminated every single one of those great Trump policies that I put in place to seal the border. I wanted to seal the border. Again, come in, but come in legally. You know how unfair it is? So many people, hundreds of thousands of people, have been working for years to come into our country. And now they see these people pour into our country at levels that are unprecedented. So unfair. And we're not going to do it. We're not going to stand for it. They suspended wall construction, ended remain in Mexico. We had a policy, remain in Mexico. You think that was easy to get from the Mexican government? But I said, you must give it to us. If you don't give it to us, there will be repercussions. And not easy.
It's kind of funny
Canceled our
listening to him
state
sped
agreements.
up.
Demolished Title 42, implemented nationwide catch and release. That's catch and release where we catch them and release them into our country. We catch them and release them into Mexico. There's a slight difference. And took 93, this is the previous administration, 93 executive actions to throw open our border to the world. The entire world is pouring into our country because of this very foolish administration. The greatest invasion in history is taking place right here in our country. They are coming in from every corner of the earth, not just from South America, but from Africa, Asia, the Middle East. They're coming from
Okay, I gotta pee again, but I'm gonna let this play while I go.
everywhere. They're coming at levels that we've never seen before. It is an invasion indeed, and this administration does absolutely nothing to stop them. They're coming from prisons. They're coming from jails. They're coming from mental institutions and insane asylums. The press is always on me because I say this. Has anyone seen Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He'd love to have you for dinner. That's insane asylums. They're emptying out their insane asylums. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we've never seen before. Bad things are going to happen. Meanwhile, our crime rate is going up while crime statistics all over the world are going down because they're taking their criminals and they're putting them into our country. A certain country, and I happen to like the president of that country very much, but he's been getting great publicity because he's a wonderful shepherd of the country. He says how well the country's doing because their crime rate is down. And he said he's training all of these rough people. They're rough. He's training them. And I've been reading about this for 2 years. I think, oh, that's wonderful. Let's take a look at it. But then I realized he's not training them. He's sending all of his criminals, his drug dealers, his people that are in jails. He's sending them all to the United States. And he's different in that he doesn't say that. He's trying to convince everybody what a wonderful job he does in running the country. Well, he doesn't do a wonderful job. And by the way, if I ran one of the countries, many countries from all over, I would be worse than any of them. I would have had the place totally emptied out already. But we become a dumping ground for the rest of the world. We're just laughing at us. They think we're stupid. And they can't believe that they're getting away with what they're getting away with, but they're not going to be getting away with it for long. That's what I can tell you. In Venezuela, Caracas, high crime. Caracas, Venezuela, really a dangerous place, but not anymore. Because in Venezuela, crime is down 72%. In fact, if they would ever win this election, I hate to even say that, we will have our next Republican convention in Venezuela because it will be safe. Our cities will be so unsafe, we will not be able to have it there. In El Salvador, murders are down by 70%. Why are they down? Now, he would have you convinced that because he's trained murderers to be wonderful people. No. They're down because they're sending their murderers to the United States of America. This is going to be very bad.
That's so weird.
Bad things are going to happen.
How can they
That's why to keep our
specifically
families safe, the
send
Republican
murderers?
platform promises to launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country.
Sure, perhaps a couple of them are murderers, but legit murderers. But it's like a lot of it is just families trying to escape to a place where they have a brighter future. And I feel like it's so un-American to have somebody coming here to the States saying, I want a better life, and they chose here for that better life. It's like, I feel like it's so un-American to turn them away.
Even larger than that of President Dwight D. Eisenhower from many years ago. You know, he was a moderate, but he believed very strongly in borders. He had the largest deportation operation we've ever had. Just recently I spoke to the grieving mother of Jocelyn Nungary, a wonderful woman, a precious 12-year-old girl from Houston who last month was tied up, assaulted, and strangled to death after walking to the convenience store just a block away from her house. Her body was dumped near the side of the road in a shallow creek, found by some onlookers who couldn't believe what they had witnessed. Charged with Jocelyn's heinous murder are 2 illegal aliens from Venezuela who came across our border, were in custody, and were then released into the country by this horrible, horrible administration that we have right now. I also met recently with the heartbroken mother and sister of Rachel Morin. Rachel was a 37-year-old mom of 5 beautiful children who was brutally raped and murdered while out on a run. She wanted to keep herself in good shape. It was very important to her. She was murdered. The monster responsible first killed another woman in El Salvador before he was led into America by the White House. This White House let them in. He then attacked a 9-year-old girl.
The White House specifically let him in. Sure.
Doing tremendous damage. Rachel's mother will never be the same. I spent time with her. She will never be the same. I've also met with the wonderful family of Laken Riley, the brilliant 22-year-old nursing student. She was so proud of
Laken Riley,
who was out for a jog on the campus of the University of Georgia when she was assaulted, beaten, and horrifically killed. Yet another American life was stolen by a criminal alien set free by this administration. And these were incredible people we're talking about. These were incredible people who died. Tonight, America, this is my vow. I will not let these killers and criminals into our country. I will keep our sons and daughters safe. As we bring security to our streets, we will help bring stability to the world. I was the first president in modern times to start no new wars. You know, we were the toughest, we were the most respected. And you saw this. Hungry, strong country, run by very powerful, tough leaders, tough guy. Press doesn't like him because he's tough. And he came out recently, they were asking him at an interview, the whole world is exploding, what's happening, what's going on? Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, very tough man. He said, I don't want people coming into my country and blowing up our shopping centers and killing people.
Yeah, Mark hit it right on the head. So Mark says, Trump is not only evoking straight up xenophobia, the fear of like illegal aliens, but he's cherry picking data and using misleading vividness of horrific crimes to make it seem ubiquitous at any moment. Yeah. I mean, it's easy to just cherry pick like things and make somebody look like really bad.
But they said to him, tell us what's going wrong, what's happening, what is it? He said, there's only one way you're going to solve it. You got to bring President Trump back to the United States because he kept everybody at bay. True. Use the word I wouldn't use because I can't use that word.
True.
You should say it was braggadocious. The press would say, who's a
I love the way he said that.
But Viktor Orban said it. He said Russia was afraid of him. China was afraid of him. Everybody was afraid of him. Nothing was going to...
I mean, if Trump wasn't such a psychopath deep down inside, I would actually really enjoy his shit. And in some ways I do. In some ways I find his personality very entertaining. It's just very concerning, the shit that he's talking about and the shit he has control over.
Happened. The whole world was at peace, and now the world is blowing up around us. All of these things that you read about were not going to happen. Under President Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under President Obama, Russia took Crimea.
Like, there's a part of me that finds him extremely entertaining, and it's a part of me I hate, but regardless, I still find he is entertaining. I will say that. The way he talks, his mannerisms, his demeanor, it is very, it is charismatic in comparison to Biden. Straight up. Biden is such a snore and a bore.
Under the current administration, Russia is after all of Ukraine. Under President Trump, Russia took nothing. We defeated 100% of ISIS in Syria and Iraq, something that was said to take 5 years, sir. It'll take 5 years, sir. We did it in a matter of a couple of months. We have a great military. Our military is not woke. It's just some of the fools on top that are woke. I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they said that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how could you possibly do that? But no, I got along with him, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea now. North Korea is acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth. Our opponents inherited a world at peace and turned it into a planet of war. We're in a planet of war. Look at that attack on Israel. Look at what's happening with Ukraine. The cities are just bombed out. How can people live like that where buildings, massive buildings, are falling to the ground? It began to unravel with the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the worst humiliation in the history of our country. We have never had a humiliation like that. 13 heroic U.S. service members were tragically and needlessly killed. 45 others were horrifically wounded. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs, face explosions. Horrifically wounded.
These soldiers, they got no arms, they got no legs. The faces were exploded. It's unbelievable. Faces exploded. The skin completely off. Total skulls.
In this room, who's running for the U.S. Senate from a great state, Nevada, named Sam Brown, who paid the ultimate price. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. He paid the biggest price probably ever paid by anybody that is running for office, and I think he's going to do great. He's running against a person that is not good, not respected, a total lightweight. But Sam, I think, paid, really, we were talking about it with some of the senators that are working so hard for Sam, but he paid the biggest price of any senator ever to run for the Senate. I don't think anybody's ever what he did. He was a real hero, a really great person, and he's running, and I hope that everybody gets out and votes for Sam Brown. And we also left behind $85 billion worth of military equipment, along with many American citizens were left behind. Many, many American citizens. Emboldened by that disaster, Russia invaded Ukraine. They saw this group of people that were incompetent. We took the soldiers out first. No, we're going to take the soldiers out second. If they would have followed my plan, we had a great plan. But the plan only kicked in if they did everything perfectly. And they weren't doing things perfectly, so we said it doesn't kick in. 18 months in Afghanistan, we didn't have one, so they were killing them left and right, snipers. And I spoke to the head of the Taliban. You've heard this story. Abdul, still there, still the head of the Taliban. The press got on me. Why would you speak to him? I said, because that's where the killing is. I don't have to speak to somebody that has nothing to do with it. And I told him, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. Don't ever do that again. You're going to stop.
Don't ever do that
again.
again.
Great people and soldiers. A lot of soldiers were being killed from long distance. I said, if you keep doing that, you're going to be hit harder than anybody's ever been hit by a country before. And he said, I understand, Your Excellency. He called me Your Excellency. I wouldn't call the guy Your Excellency. I doubt it. But the guy gave him everything. I mean, what kind of a deal was that? He walked out, gave him everything. You know that right now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world? They're selling the brand new beautiful weapons that we gave them. But think of it. He actually said to me, but why do you show me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to ask your people or one of your wives. But he could figure it out. And for 18 months, we had not one attack on an American soldier by the Taliban. 18 months. And then we had that horrible day where soldiers were killed. I was not there because of a ridiculous election. But we had that horrible attack. And they also gave up Bagram, one of the biggest bases anywhere in the world, air bases, anywhere in the world, the longest runways, most powerful, hardened, thickened runways. We gave it up. And I liked it not because of Afghanistan. I liked it because of China. It's 1 hour away from where China makes their nuclear weapons. And you know who has it now? China has it now. We were keeping that. And now China is likewise circling Taiwan, and Russian warships and nuclear submarines are operating 60 miles off the coast in Cuba. Do you know that? No, the press refuses to write about it. If that were me running this country and we had nuclear submarines in Cuba, I will tell you that headlines every day would be, what's wrong with our president? You don't even hear this. You're not hearing about this. Russia has nuclear submarines and warships 60 miles away, Mr. Congressman, from Miami, by the way, happens to be here. Correct? In Cuba. And that would not be stood for if it were somebody else. They don't want to mention it, but now maybe they will. And the entire world, I tell you this, we want our hostages back. And they better be back before I assume office, or you will be paying a very big price. With our victory in November, the years of war, weakness, and chaos.
Yeah, in his head, he has won. Like, in his head, he's won. Like, and that's what I'm saying. If he happens to not win this election, there's gonna be fucking hell to pay. There'll be fucking hell to pay. Mark my words.
No wars. I could stop wars with a telephone call. I could stop wars with just a telephone call. If properly stated, it would never start. We will replenish our military and build an Iron Dome missile defense system to ensure that no enemy can strike our homeland. And this great Iron Dome will be built entirely in the USA. We're going to build it in the USA. And Wisconsin, just like I gave you that massive ship contract, and you're doing a very nice job, Governor, right? Thank you, Governor. And they're doing a great job. In fact, I had a little design change. We gave them a tremendous for essentially what we used to call destroyers. These are now the most beautiful. They look like yachts. I said we have to take the bow and we have to make it a little nicer and a little point at the top instead of a flat nose. And the people on the ship, this guy sort of knows what he's doing. We have the most beautiful ships.
Little
right?
point at the top.
Over there. And it was a big contract that everybody wanted. I gave it to Wisconsin, but we're going to have a lot of that built right here in the state of Wisconsin and all other states. Israel has an Iron Dome. They have a missile defense system. 342 missiles were shot into Israel, and only one got through a little bit. It was badly wounded. It fell to the ground, but most of them are. And Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we really didn't have the technology many years ago. Remember, they called it Starship, Spaceship, anything to mock him. But he was a very good president, very, very good.
Oh, my fuck.
Now we have unbelievable.
Because, I mean, yeah, Ronald Reagan was a great president. Of course he would say that. Literally everything that's fucked up in America right now can be traced back to Reagan. It's fucking ridiculous.
Technology. And why should other countries have this and we don't? No, we're going to build an Iron Dome over our country, and we're going to be sure that nothing can come and harm our people. And again, from an economic development standpoint, we're going to make it all right here. No more sending it out to other countries in order to help. It's America first. America first. We will unleash the power of American innovation, and as we do, we will soon be on the verge of finding the cures to cancer, Alzheimer's disease, and many other diseases. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You remember this gentleman that I don't want to mention other than one time I had to, because when you say you're the 10 worst, I had to do it. I didn't want anybody to be confused. But this man said, we're going to find the cure to cancer. Nothing happened. We're going to get to the cure for cancer and Alzheimer's and so many other things. We're so close to doing something great. But we need a leader that will let it be done. We will not have men playing in women's sports. That will end immediately.
Men playing in women's sports, that'll end immediately. This is such a fucking transphobic, like, talking point. It's just unreal how fucking transphobic it is.
And we will restore and renovate our nation's once great cities, making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And that includes our nation's capital, which is a horrible killing field. So many things. They leave from Wisconsin, they go to look at the Washington Monument, they end up getting stabbed, killed, or shot. We will be very soon very proud of our capital, again, Washington, D.C. America is on the cusp of a new golden age, but we will have the courage to seize it. We're going to take it. We're going to make it a current. I mean, we're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this. China wants to do it. Japan wants to do it. All of these countries want to do it. We have to produce massive amounts of energy if we're going to produce the new. If you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine? But instead, we're spending places where they recharge electric cars. They built 8 chargers at a certain location toward the Midwest. 8 chargers for $9 billion. Think of them as a tank for filling up your gas. Think of it. They spent $9 billion on 8 chargers, 3 of which didn't work. And if you were going to do this all over our country, this crazy electric mandate, if you're going to do this and by the way, I'm all for electric. They have their application. But if somebody wants to buy a gas-powered car, gasoline-powered car, or a hybrid, they're going to be able to do it. And we're going to make that change on day 1. So to conclude, just a few short days ago, my journey with you nearly ended. We know that. And yet, here we are tonight, all gathered together, talking about the future, promise, and a total renewal of a thing we love very much. It's called America. We live in a world of miracles. None of us knows God's plan or where life's adventure will take us. I want to thank Franklin Graham for being here tonight. He's an outstanding man. He wrote me a note recently. I have a lot of respect for him. Sir, I love your storytelling. I think it's great in front of these big rallies. But sir, please do me one favor. It won't make any difference. Please, don't use any foul language. I was a little embarrassed. He said, it won't make any difference. Actually, the story's not quite as good, but I've been very good. The story is not quite as good, to be honest. I've got to have a little talk with Franklin, but he was great. He's a great gentleman. His father was so incredible. Billy Graham. My father used to love taking me to see Billy Graham. My father would take me to see Billy Graham at Yankee Stadium. He had the biggest...
Let's see. I'm going to go over his running mate. So last thing I want to touch on is people across the nation have lost jobs after posts about Trump shooting. So because plenty of people have opinions that they have voiced, saying that they wish the shooting would have gone a different direction. This is really something you got to be careful about, okay? So let's see. It's not just Tenacious D bandmate Kyle Gass in the wake of the violent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. Plenty of people took to social media to make jokes and comments that they're reaping consequences. School employees, a restaurant worker, a fire chief, a political aide have all lost their jobs or resigned after outrage over their post, according to the statements by their employees and news reports. Meanwhile, Jack Black, the other member of Tenacious D Duo, said he was blindsided as he announced that he was ending the rest of their tour, which I think is fucking bullshit, frankly. I mean, they literally wrote a song about storming the Capitol. I mean, anyways, would pause any plans to work with Gass again in the future. Are you fucking kidding me? The whole Tenacious D saga is gonna, like, potentially end over Kyle Gass's, like, little comment. I don't think that's fair. But, okay, so Gass briefly complained on stage that the shooter had missed. A sentiment repeated in various forms across social media in the hours after the assassination attempt. Too soon, probably. Too soon. The joke was made too soon. Celebrities' comments are certainly in the spotlight after the tragic incident, but regular people need to be careful about what they say too, even if it's meant in jest. It's true. It's true. Communication experts say joking about an assassination attempt that left a citizen dead is going too far. No matter how private your life is, everybody has an audience, says the professor of digital social media. And there's always an audience for people misbehaving. So essentially, in a nutshell, a lot of people making jokes or just, jesting at the idea of Trump dying are getting fired. We could probably get more into that. Chaya Rychek, the woman who runs Libs of TikTok, has been single-handedly doxing people and getting them fired for making their comments. It's just really interesting to be in this world where these people primarily are advocates of absolute free speech. Like, they are free speech absolutists. But when it comes to this, suddenly there's a line and they're getting everybody, quote unquote, canceled and fired and all this stuff like that. Really interesting. But anyways, be careful what you say out there on the internet about this situation. I'm sure there's some haphazard things I would love to say, but ultimately, I think it's good that Trump survived, because I don't think that's the way for him to be taken out. I would rather see him, face the music and dwindle away and disintegrate slowly from old age. But, it is what it is, and we gotta say this is very fucking interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting historical thing. That the photo of Trump is perfect. You can hate it all you want. It's a perfect photo. It's gonna go in history books for many decades. So, anyways, I think that's all I have in me for tonight. I'm tired. I want to go eat dinner and have a drink and relax. I want to watch some bullshit on YouTube. So, tomorrow there's not going to be any gaming tomorrow, because I believe Susan and Philip are going to be going live tomorrow. If they back out last second for some reason, I'll try to jump in and fill that spot with a gaming stream. But otherwise, let's expect the Neogenian Oculus to be streaming tomorrow. But thank you so much, everybody. If you have some afterthoughts or some opinions, feel free to leave a comment, after the stream ends, and let me know what you think there. That's always welcome. And until we see you again, have a good weekend. Take care of yourself. Drink some water. Go for a walk. Take a break. Take it easy. And yeah, we'll see you when we see you. Okay? Okay. All right. Good night, everybody. Good night. Take care. Kiss, kiss. Hugs, hugs. Love, love. Mwah.